Hey there, amazing viewers of my YouTube channel. Get ready for a deep dive into the intricate world of Middle-earth, as today we're delving into the captivating character analysis of Melkor, one of J.R.R. Tolkien's most complex creations. Join me as we dissect the motivations, conflicts, and evolution of this enigmatic figure. From his rise as a Valar to becoming Morgoth, the Dark Lord, we'll unravel the psychological depths that shaped his path. So, hit that play button and let's embark on this riveting exploration of darkness, power, and the intricate nuances of Melkor's journey. Get ready to unveil the depths of Tolkien's mythology. Melkor, also known as Morgoth, is a central character in J.R.R. Tolkien's legendarium, specifically in the Silmarillion. He is a complex and multifaceted character whose traits and actions can be analyzed from various angles. Here are some key aspects of Melkor's character that can be explored. Ambition and power hunger. Melkor is characterized by his insatiable thirst for power and dominion. His overwhelming ambition drives him to seek control over all things and to assert himself as the supreme authority. This ambition leads him to commit destructive acts and wage wars in his pursuit of ultimate power. 1. Unquenchable desire for dominance. From his earliest interactions in the music of the Ainur, Melkor displays a burning ambition to assert his own will and ideas. He seeks to impose his vision on the world of Arda, craving not only control over its physical aspects, but also over its inhabitants' minds and hearts. 2. Rebellion against the divine plan. Melkor's ambition causes him to rebel against the design of Illuvatar, the creator. Dissatisfied with his assigned role, he wants to shape the world according to his own desires and vision. This rebellion marks the beginning of his descent into darkness and his pursuit of power at any cost. 3. Corruption of creative impulses. Melkor's ambition corrupts his innate creative impulses. While he has the capacity for creation, his desire for power and control leads him to twist his creations into manifestations of his own malevolence. His works often bear the marks of destruction and chaos. 4. Jealousy and envy as motivators. Melkor's ambition is fueled by jealousy and envy. He resents the harmony and creativity of his fellow Ainur, especially the music of Ulmo and Aoi. This envy drives him to undermine their achievements and assert his own dominance. 5. Manipulation of others' desires. Melkor manipulates the ambitions and desires of others to further his own agenda. He plays on the fears and doubts of the elves and men, exploiting their vulnerabilities to gain influence over them. He uses their own ambitions against them, driving them to serve his purposes. 6. Self-destruction through greed. Melkor's insatiable hunger for power eventually consumes him. His obsession with domination blinds him to the consequences of his actions, leading him to overextend himself and spread his influence too thin. This greed for power ultimately contributes to his own downfall. 7. Isolation and loneliness. Melkor's ambition isolates him from others. His constant desire for more power distances him from his fellow Ainur and from the very beings he seeks to control. This isolation exacerbates his feelings of loneliness and further drives him to pursue dominance. 8. Loss of identity and purpose. Melkor's ambition erodes his original purpose and identity. He becomes more focused on achieving power than on creating or contributing positively. As his ambition grows, he loses sight of his initial desire for creative expression, which contributes to his moral decay. In analyzing Melkor's ambition and power hunger, it becomes clear that his pursuit of dominance becomes a self-destructive force. His ambition blinds him to the value of creation, cooperation, and harmony, leading him to inflict suffering and chaos upon the world of Arda. His tragic fall from a promising being into a malevolent force serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the corrupting influence of power. Rebellion and discontent. Originally a part of the Ainur, Melkor was initially aligned with Eru Ilúvatar's vision. However, he becomes discontented with his role and seeks to shape the world according to his own desires rather than following the greater design. This rebellion against the divine plan drives much of his subsequent actions. 1. Initial alignment and discontent. Melkor starts as one of the Ainur who participate in the music of the Ainur, a harmonious creation event. However, he quickly becomes discontented with his role. He desires to contribute more and exert his individual will, leading him to develop his own themes in the music that diverge from the harmony desired by Eru Ilúvatar. 2. Desire for personal authority. Melkor's discontent stems from his desire for personal authority and recognition. He resents the limitations placed on him by the divine plan and seeks to assert his own will and ideas. This discontent forms the basis of his rebellion against Eru's design. 3. Creation of discord. Melkor's rebellion against the harmonious themes of the music of the Ainur introduces discord into the world, disrupting the unity and balance intended by Eru. This act of rebellion sows the seeds of his later malevolent actions as he becomes increasingly driven by a desire to assert his own power and control. 4. Desire to shape the world. Melkor's discontent leads him to seek dominion over the newly created world of Arda. He wishes to shape it according to his own vision rather than adhere to the design set forth by Eru. This ambition drives him to engage in acts of creation and manipulation that ultimately lead to destruction. 5. Corruption of creation. Melkor's discontent with the existing order leads him to corrupt his own creations. He introduces elements of destruction, chaos, and malevolence into the world. His desire to assert his individuality and power through creation becomes twisted as he infuses his works with his own rebellious and malevolent spirit. 6. Manipulation of others' discontent. Melkor's rebellion and discontent extend to his manipulation of other beings. He preys on their own feelings of discontent, exploiting their fears, doubts, and desires to serve his purposes. He offers them power and control in exchange for their loyalty and obedience. 7. Cycle of escalation. Melkor's discontent and rebellion create a cycle of escalation, where each act of defiance against the divine order leads to more extreme measures. As he becomes increasingly driven by his ambition for dominance, he commits more destructive and malevolent deeds. 8. Loneliness and isolation. Despite his rebellion, Melkor's actions isolate him from the other Ainur and from the creatures he seeks to control. His discontent and desire for power lead to loneliness and further reinforce his sense of isolation. In analyzing Melkor's rebellion and discontent, it becomes evident that these traits serve as catalysts for his fall from grace. His initial dissatisfaction with his role, desire for personal authority, and yearning to reshape the world according to his own vision lead him down a path of corruption, manipulation, and malevolence. Melkor's character illustrates the consequences of unchecked rebellion and discontent, underscoring the dangers of pursuing one's desires at the expense of the greater harmony and order. See, corruption and deception. Melkor's character is marked by his ability to corrupt and manipulate others. He deceives and manipulates the lesser Ainur, the elves, and men, often exploiting their weaknesses to further his own goals. His ability to sow discord and turn allies into adversaries is a key element of his malevolent nature. 1. Origins of discontent. Melkor's discontent is rooted in his desire for uniqueness and recognition. As one of the Ainur, he initially participated in the harmonious music of the Ainur, but his growing discontent arises from his yearning to stand out and make his mark on creation. This discontent is the seed that leads to his rebellion. 2. Desire for creative freedom. Melkor's rebellion is driven by his longing for creative freedom and autonomy. He resents the preordained roles and limitations set by Eru Iluvatar's divine design. He aspires to shape the world according to his own vision, emphasizing his individuality over the harmonious unity desired by Eru. 3. Introduction of discord. Melkor's rebellion manifests in the introduction of discord into the world. His themes and the music of the Ainur deviate from the original harmony, sparking a conflict that foreshadows the turmoil he will later spread in Eärendil. This discord becomes a reflection of his internal rebellion against Eru's plan. 4. Ambition and control. Melkor's rebellion evolves into an insatiable ambition for control. He desires dominion over all things and beings, seeking to impose his own will upon creation. This ambition drives him to commit acts of creation, manipulation, and destruction that serve his own desires rather than the greater good. 5. Corruption of creation. Melkor's discontent with existing creations leads him to twist and corrupt his own works. He taints his creations with his malevolent influence, turning them into instruments of destruction and chaos. His desire to assert his individuality through creation becomes a perverse manifestation of his rebellion. 6. Manipulation and deception. Melkor's discontent drives him to manipulate others' desires and fears. He exploits their vulnerabilities to serve his own ends, often by promising them power or gratification. His ability to manipulate plays a pivotal role in spreading his influence and furthering his rebellion. 7. Cycle of destruction. Melkor's rebellion sets in motion a cycle of ever-increasing destruction. His initial acts of defiance escalate into more severe and malevolent actions. As his discontent festers and his ambition grows, he becomes willing to commit atrocities to maintain his dominance. 8. Loneliness and isolation. Despite his pursuit of power, Melkor's rebellion isolates him from others. His discontent distances him from the other Ainur, and his malevolence distances him from the creatures he seeks to control. This isolation deepens his feelings of loneliness and furthers his descent into darkness. In analyzing Melkor's rebellion and discontent, it becomes clear that these traits shape his character trajectory. His initial dissatisfaction with the established order, combined with his thirst for power, leads him down a path of corruption and destruction. Melkor's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, rebellion, and the consequences of putting personal desires above the greater harmony and well-being of creation. 3. Desire for subcreation. Melkor desires not only to dominate, but also to create. He seeks to shape the world in his own image and instill his own will into it. However, his creations often carry elements of his malevolence, reflecting his twisted nature. 1. Innate creative impulses. Melkor, as one of the Ainur, possesses creative abilities bestowed upon him by Illuvatar. His initial desire for subcreation is driven by a genuine creative impulse, a longing to contribute to the shaping and beautification of the world of Arda. 2. Ambition for dominance. Melkor's desire for subcreation takes a dark turn when it becomes intertwined with his ambition for dominance. He seeks not just to create, but to control and reshape creation according to his own will. This ambition distorts his creative urges and leads him to pervert his creations. 3. Corruption of subcreation. Melkor's subcreations, while initially promising, become tainted by his malevolent intentions. He twists and corrupts his works, imbuing them with elements of destruction, suffering, and chaos. His desire to assert control over creation leads to the creation of creatures that mirror his own dark nature. 4. Twisted reflection of Eru's creation. Melkor's subcreations are often a distorted reflection of Eru's original design. He seeks to replicate Eru's acts of creation, but his twisted motivations lead to warped and malevolent versions of Eru's harmonious creatures. 5. Use of subcreation for manipulation. Melkor uses his subcreations as tools for manipulation and control. He offers his creations to others, often deceiving them with false promises of power and dominion. He exploits their desires and vulnerabilities to manipulate them to serve his purposes. 6. Erosion of original intent. As Melkor's desire for subcreation becomes increasingly driven by his ambition and lust for power, he loses sight of his original intent. His creative impulse is subverted, and his works become a means to further his malevolent agenda rather than contribute positively to the world. 7. Loss of connection with Eru's vision. Melkor's desire for subcreation distances him from Eru's vision and the greater harmony of the divine plan. His creations deviate from the intended order, reflecting his own rebellious and self-serving motives. 8. Contributing to suffering and chaos. Melkor's corrupted subcreations contribute to the suffering and chaos that plague Arda. His desire for subcreation aligned with his ambition drives him to create beings and constructs that spread destruction and misery throughout the world. In analyzing Melkor's desire for subcreation, it becomes evident that his creative urges are co-opted by his desire for power and control. What begins as a potentially positive and constructive force ultimately becomes a tool for spreading malevolence and corruption. Melkor's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of allowing personal ambitions to twist and corrupt even the noblest of intentions, leading to the downfall of both the individual and the world around them. Jealousy and envy. Melkor's actions are often motivated by jealousy and envy. He resents the creativity and harmony of others, especially the other Ainur, and desires to overshadow their achievements with his own works. Melkor's jealousy and envy are crucial facets of his character in J.R.R. Tolkien's Legendarium, particularly in the Silmarillion. These negative emotions play a significant role in driving his actions and choices, contributing to his transformation from a being of promise to a malevolent force. Analyzing Melkor's jealousy and envy sheds light on his motivations, relationships with others, and the consequences of his actions. 1. Resentment of others' achievements. Melkor's jealousy arises from his resentment of the achievements of others, particularly his fellow Ainur. He envies their creative talents and harmonious contributions to Eru overshadowed and unappreciated in comparison, feeling overshadowed and unappreciated in comparison. 2. Desire for recognition. Melkor's jealousy is fueled by his desire for recognition and uniqueness. He wants to stand out and be acknowledged for his own contributions, seeking to prove his worth by surpassing or outshining his peers. 3. Discontent with assigned roles. Melkor's jealousy stems from his discontent with the roles assigned to him in the music of the Aenir. He yearns to break free from the confines of his original role and seeks to assert his individuality and importance. 4. Twisted ambition. Melkor's jealousy evolves into a twisted ambition for dominance. He not only wants recognition, but also aims to dominate and control others, motivated by a desire to prove his superiority over them. 5. Undermining others' achievements. Melkor's jealousy drives him to undermine the achievements of his peers. He attempts to diminish their creations, introducing discord and chaos to disrupt their works and weaken their influence. 6. Manipulation and exploitation. Melkor's jealousy fuels his manipulation of others. He exploits the insecurities and desires of those he encounters, using their vulnerabilities to further his own ambitions and recruit followers. 7. Creation of rivalries and conflicts. Melkor's jealousy creates rivalries and conflicts among the Ainur, elves, and men. His actions breed mistrust and division, leading to strife and discord that weaken the bonds of unity and collaboration. 8. Bitterness and deterioration of morality. Melkor's jealousy contributes to his descent into bitterness and malevolence. As he becomes more consumed by his desire to surpass others, his sense of morality deteriorates, leading him to commit increasingly destructive acts. 9. Loneliness and isolation. Melkor's jealousy isolates him from others. His resentment and malevolence distance him from his fellow Ainur and from the creatures he seeks to dominate, deepening his feelings of loneliness and separation. In analyzing Melkor's jealousy and envy, it becomes evident that these emotions drive his ambition for dominance and power. What starts as a response to feeling overlooked or unappreciated transforms into a corrosive force that leads him to corrupt creation, manipulate others, and spread suffering. Melkor's character serves as a cautionary reminder of the destructive nature of jealousy and envy, underscoring how these negative emotions can lead to a descent into darkness and a betrayal of one's innate potential for good. F. Destruction and chaos. Melkor's quest for power leads him to spread destruction and chaos across the world of Arda. He corrupts the lands he controls, causing suffering and misery for its inhabitants. His desire to dominate supersedes any consideration for the well-being of others. 1. Desire for control through destruction. Melkor's desire for control is often expressed through his inclination for destruction. He believes that by exerting his dominion over creation, he can reshape it according to his own vision. Destruction becomes a means for him to assert his dominance and impose his will on the world. 2. Corruption of creation. Melkor's penchant for destruction is intertwined with his corruption of creation. He perverts his creative abilities to create things that mirror his malevolent intentions. His works, which should have brought beauty and harmony, instead contribute to chaos and suffering. 3. Spread discord and strife. Melkor's actions introduce discord and strife into the world of Arda. He manipulates individuals and races, exploiting their weaknesses and turning them against one another. The result is an environment of conflict, division, and turmoil that contrasts with the intended harmony of creation. 4. Use of fear and intimidation. Melkor employs destruction and chaos as tools to inspire fear and intimidation. By showing his power to destroy, he forces others to submit to his will out of a sense of helplessness and vulnerability. 5. Manipulation of natural forces. Melkor's control over destructive forces such as fire and darkness allows him to manipulate the elements to spread chaos. He harnesses these forces to create unnatural phenomena that instill fear and uncertainty among the inhabitants of Arda. 6. Tainting of hope and progress. Melkor's actions seek to undermine hope and progress. He twists optimism into despair and extinguishes the light of knowledge and enlightenment. His goal is to shroud the world in darkness and prevent any advancement that contradicts his malevolent intentions. 7. Subversion of creation's purpose. Melkor's destructive tendencies subvert the original purpose of creation. Instead of contributing to the flourishing of life and beauty, he uses his abilities to dismantle and corrupt that which others hold dear. 8. Cycle of violence and ruin. Melkor's inclination for destruction perpetuates a cycle of violence and ruin. His actions trigger retaliatory responses and further acts of destruction, contributing to a cascading effect of chaos and suffering. 9. Erosion of order and harmony. Melkor's pursuit of destruction disrupts the order and harmony intended by Eru Iluvatar. His malevolent influence tarnishes the world's natural balance and brings about imbalances that lead to suffering. In analyzing Melkor's predisposition toward destruction and chaos, it becomes clear that these traits drive his malevolent agenda. His actions undermine the original intent of creation, propagate fear and suffering, and pave the way for the spread of darkness throughout the world of Arda. Melkor's character serves as a cautionary example of the catastrophic consequences that can arise when malevolence and the desire for control manifest through destructive actions. G. Manipulation of fear and doubt. Melkor excels in exploiting the fears and doubts of others. He sows discord by playing on the anxieties of the elves and men, which often leads them to make decisions that ultimately benefit his malevolent agenda. 1. Identification of vulnerabilities. Melkor's manipulation of fear and doubt stems from his keen understanding of the vulnerabilities of others. He identifies the fears, uncertainties, and insecurities that exist within individuals and groups, enabling him to exploit these weaknesses for his own benefit. 2. Creation of apprehension. Melkor purposefully stirs feelings of apprehension and anxiety in those he seeks to control. He uses his power to create ominous situations, unnatural phenomena, and terrifying creatures that induce fear and unease. 3. Amplification of doubt. Melkor amplifies doubt within individuals by casting doubt on their beliefs, abilities, and loyalties. He sows seeds of uncertainty, making them question their convictions and fostering a sense of helplessness. 4. False promises of protection. Melkor manipulates fear by offering false promises of protection and safety to those who align with him. He preys on their desire for security, using their fear as a leverage to gain their loyalty and obedience. 5. Use of deceptive propaganda. Melkor spreads fear and doubt through the use of deceptive propaganda. He distorts information and spreads false narratives that further his agenda, creating an environment of confusion and mistrust. 6. Erosion of confidence. Melkor's manipulation erodes the confidence of individuals and societies. He dismantles their sense of identity, purpose, and belonging, leading them to question their worth and the foundations of their existence. 7. Isolation and paranoia. Melkor's manipulation of fear and doubt isolates individuals from one another. He creates an atmosphere of paranoia and suspicion, causing individuals to view others as potential threats rather than allies. 8. Dependency on his guidance. Melkor fosters a dependence on his guidance by exploiting fear and doubt. He positions himself as the source of stability in a chaotic world, furthering his control over those who are fearful and uncertain. 9. Disruption of unity. Melkor's manipulation of fear and doubt disrupts unity among different groups. He fuels division by sowing distrust and fear among races, causing them to turn against one another rather than unite against his malevolent influence. In analyzing Melkor's manipulation of fear and doubt, it becomes evident that these tactics are central to his strategy of control and domination. By exploiting the vulnerabilities of others, he undermines their resolve, fosters dependence on his guidance, and creates an environment of turmoil. Melkor's character serves as a cautionary example of the destructive power of manipulation and how the exploitation of fear and doubt can lead individuals and societies down a path of darkness and chaos. H. Loneliness and isolation. Despite his power, Melkor's isolation increases over time. His malevolence distances him from the other Ainur and from the very creatures he seeks to dominate. This loneliness contributes to his further descent into darkness. 1. Desire for recognition and acceptance. Melkor's loneliness stems from his desire for recognition and acceptance. He feels overlooked and overshadowed by the other Ainur, particularly his peers who are admired for their harmonious contributions to Eru Iluvatar's vision. This desire for recognition drives him to assert his individuality in extreme ways. 2. Estrangement from the divine plan. Melkor's sense of isolation emerges from his estrangement from the divine plan. He rebels against Eru's design, seeking to exert his own will and vision on creation. This rebellion distances him from the harmonious unity intended by Eru, leading to his increasing isolation. 3. Failed connections and betrayals. Melkor's early connections with other Ainur falter as his ambitions grow. His desire for dominance and control causes him to betray the trust of those who initially followed him. This cycle of failed connections and betrayals deepens his isolation. 4. Corrupting influence on others. Melkor's isolation is exacerbated by his corrupting influence on others. His malevolent intent and manipulation drive a wedge between him and potential allies, isolating him further as he becomes surrounded by followers who serve him out of fear or desire for power. 5. Manipulation of others' desires. Melkor uses his understanding of loneliness and isolation to manipulate others. He exploits their yearning for recognition and power, promising them a place by his side if they align with him. He preys on their vulnerabilities to solidify his influence. 6. Degradation of empathy and compassion. As Melkor becomes more isolated, he loses touch with empathy and compassion. His desire for dominance and power becomes all-consuming, overshadowing any remaining connections to his original nature. 7. Estrangement from creation. Melkor's malevolent actions estrange him from the very creation he seeks to control. His corruption and destruction lead to a sense of alienation from the beauty and harmony of Arda, reinforcing his isolation. 8. Cycles of retaliation and animosity. Melkor's isolation perpetuates cycles of retaliation and animosity. His actions lead to conflicts and divisions among others, making it difficult for him to find allies or true companionship. 9. Loneliness as a catalyst for malevolence. Melkor's loneliness and isolation serve as catalysts for his descent into malevolence. His desire for recognition and control, combined with his lack of true companionship, fuel his ambition to reshape the world according to his twisted vision. In analyzing Melkor's loneliness and isolation, it becomes evident that these emotions play a pivotal role in shaping his character and driving his choices. His isolation feeds into his malevolent tendencies, leading him to commit destructive acts and manipulate others in his pursuit of power. Melkor's story serves as a cautionary reminder of the profound impact that loneliness and isolation can have on an individual's psyche and actions. Complex motivations. While Melkor embodies evil and destruction, Tolkien's nuanced writing also hints at the complexity of his motivations. He is not simply a one-dimensional villain. His character is shaped by his original desire to create and contribute, which becomes twisted by his ambition and ego. 1. Desire for individuality and recognition. Melkor's initial motivation is rooted in the desire for individuality and recognition. He seeks to distinguish himself from the other Ainur and stand out as a unique and significant presence. This desire for recognition fuels his ambition to shape the world of Arda according to his own vision. 2. Ambition for creative control. Melkor's creative abilities and desire for control drive his ambition to reshape creation. He wants to exert his influence over the world and its inhabitants, using his power to create and manipulate to fulfill his craving for dominance. 3. Resentment and jealousy. Melkor's motivations are also driven by resentment and jealousy towards the accomplishments of others. He resents the harmonious contributions of his peers and desires to surpass them, leading him to introduce discord and chaos into creation as a way to assert his own significance. 4. Fear of being overlooked. At the root of Melkor's motivations is a fear of being overlooked or rendered insignificant. His fear of fading into obscurity drives him to extreme measures, as he believes that only through extreme power and dominance can he avoid being overshadowed. 5. Manipulation and control. Melkor's complex motivations involve a desire for control over others. He manipulates their fears, desires, and vulnerabilities to bend them to his will. His desire for control becomes an outlet for his own insecurities and need for affirmation. 6. Twisting of creative impulses. Melkor's motivations become more convoluted as he twists his creative impulses toward malevolence. His desire to create and shape the world is corrupted by his ambitions for dominance and his willingness to use destructive means to achieve his goals. 7. Loneliness and isolation. Melkor's motivations are influenced by his feelings of loneliness and isolation. His desire for recognition and control is intensified by his lack of true companionship and connection with others, leading him to pursue power at all costs. 8. Cycle of self-destruction. As Melkor's motivations become more complex, they contribute to a cycle of self-destruction. His pursuit of power and dominance blinds him to the consequences of his actions, leading to further alienation, isolation, and malevolence. In analyzing Melkor's complex motivations, it becomes evident that his character is driven by a combination of personal desires, insecurities, and the influence of external factors. His motivations provide a nuanced understanding of his descent into darkness, showcasing the tragic consequences that arise when ambition, jealousy, and fear become distorted by a need for power and control. Melkor's story serves as a cautionary tale about the intricate interplay of motivations and the potential for both greatness and destruction within a complex character. J. Fallen angel archetype. Melkor's character can be seen as reminiscent of the fallen angel archetype, where a once great being rebels against higher powers and descends into darkness. This archetype adds layers of tragic depth to his character. 1. Original state of splendor. At the beginning of his existence, Melkor is among the Ainur, who participated in the divine music of the Ainur, signifying his original state of splendor and alignment with Eru Iluvatar's vision. This parallels the traditional depiction of angels as beings of divine creation and purity. 2. Desire for autonomy and individuality. Like the fallen angel archetype, Melkor's rebellion stems from a desire for autonomy and individuality. He grows discontent with his assigned role and seeks to assert his own will and creative vision, much like Lucifer's desire to rise above his station in various interpretations. 3. Pride and ambition. Melkor's pride and ambition drive his fall from grace. Another common trait of the fallen angel archetype. His desire for recognition, control, and dominance lead him to rebel against the established order, mirroring the arrogance that often characterizes fallen angels. 4. Introduction of discord. Melkor's rebellion introduces discord and chaos into the world of Arda, disrupting the harmony intended by Eru. This mirrors the idea of fallen angels causing disruption and conflict upon their fall, as they become agents of chaos and malevolence. 5. Corruption and degradation. Melkor's transformation from a being of promise to a malevolent force reflects the degradation often associated with the fallen angel archetype. As he indulges in his desires for power and control, his character becomes corrupted, and his actions contribute to the suffering and corruption of the world. 6. Manipulation and deception. Melkor, like fallen angels, employs manipulation and deception to further his goals. He preys on the vulnerabilities of others, exploiting their fears, doubts, and desires to serve his own agenda. 7. Loneliness and isolation. The fallen angel archetype often involves a sense of isolation or separation from the divine and other angels. Melkor's loneliness and isolation result from his rebellion and the growing divide between him and his fellow Ainur. 8. Tragic downfall. The fallen angel archetype typically leads to a tragic downfall, where the character's pride and rebellion ultimately result in their own undoing. Melkor's descent from a respected Anu to a malevolent force echoes the tragic trajectory of fallen angels who defy divine will. In analyzing Melkor's embodiment of the fallen angel archetype, it becomes clear that his character draws from timeless themes of rebellion, pride, corruption, and tragedy. His narrative serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and the consequences of defying the natural order or divine will. Melkor's character represents a unique interpretation of the fallen angel archetype within Tolkien's rich and intricate mythos. Important differences between Melkor and Sauron. Melkor and Sauron are two distinct characters within J.R.R. Tolkien's legendarium, each with their own motivations, actions, and roles in the narrative. While they share some similarities, there are important differences that set them apart. 1. Origin and power level. Melkor, also known as Morgoth, is the original dark power in Tolkien's world. He was one of the Ainur, divine beings created by Eru Iluvatar, and he participated in the creation of the world. Melkor is immensely powerful and among the most potent entities in the legendarium. Sauron, on the other hand, is a Maya, a lesser order of beings within the Ainur. He is a servant of Melkor and later seeks power for himself. While Sauron is still powerful, his abilities are not on the same scale as those of Melkor. 2. Motivations. Melkor's motivations are deeply rooted in his desire for control, dominance, and individuality. He rebels against Eru's vision to reshape the world according to his own designs and desires. Sauron's motivations initially align with Melkor's but later become more focused on acquiring power for himself. He seeks to control and order Middle-earth according to his will, and his main goal is achieving dominion through the One Ring. 3. Creation and corruption. Melkor is responsible for introducing discord and evil into the world from its very inception. He corrupts the original beauty of creation, tainting its harmony with chaos and suffering. Sauron, while influenced by Melkor's teachings, is primarily associated with the creation of the One Ring. He uses it to exert control and corrupt the hearts and minds of those who possess it. 4. Direct involvement. Melkor is personally involved in major events throughout the legendarium, shaping the world and its history through his actions and influence. Sauron's role becomes more focused on specific time periods, particularly during the events of the Lord of the Rings. He primarily operates behind the scenes using agents and manipulation to achieve his goals. 5. Physical manifestation. Melkor physically dwells in the realm of Utumno before being cast into the void after his defeat in the War of Wrath. Sauron's physical form is destroyed multiple times, but he retains the ability to reform in a diminished state as long as the One Ring exists. 6. Transformation. Melkor's transformation from a powerful Ainu to Morgoth, the Dark Enemy, is a gradual process marked by his growing malevolence and corruption. Sauron's transformation is primarily tied to his service to Morgoth and his own lust for power. He becomes more cunning and manipulative as he seeks control over the rings of power and the One Ring. 7. Interaction with characters. Melkor's interactions are more prominent in the earlier history of Middle-earth, influencing the fates of many characters and races. Sauron interacts more directly with characters in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, particularly as the mastermind behind the events surrounding the One Ring. In summary, while both Melkor and Sauron are malevolent figures with a penchant for power and control, they differ in terms of their origin, motivations, level of power, and their roles in shaping the legendarium's history. Melkor serves as the overarching dark force that sets the stage for many events, while Sauron takes on a more focused and intricate role in the later narratives. Conclusion. In J.R.R. Tolkien's meticulously crafted legendarium, the character of Melkor stands as a testament to the intricacies of personality and the depths of moral descent. His complexities are multifaceted, reflecting a combination of motivations, emotions, and psychological forces that drive his transformation from a being of great potential to a malevolent force that seeks to reshape creation according to his own twisted vision. Melkor's personality complexities contribute to the richness of Tolkien's storytelling, offering reader a cautionary exploration of the darkness that can arise from unchecked ambition, jealousy, isolation, and the desire for power. At the core of Melkor's personality is a desire for recognition and individuality. He yearns to be more than just a participant in the divine chorus. He craves distinction and significance. However, this desire, coupled with his pride and ambition, becomes the catalyst for his rebellion and dissent. As he distances himself from the harmony of creation, He succumbs to loneliness and isolation, further fueling his determination to assert control and dominion over his surroundings. Melkor's manipulation of fear, doubt, and other vulnerabilities serves as a chilling reflection of the darker aspects of human nature. Through these methods, he establishes a web of deceit, ensnaring others to do his bidding and ultimately leading to their downfall. His use of these tactics highlights the psychology of manipulation and the devastating consequences it can have on individuals and societies. The fallen angel archetype that Melkor embodies adds yet another layer of complexity to his personality. His rebellion, pride, and ambition align him with the timeless narrative of figures who have fallen from grace. This archetype not only grounds his character in mythology, but also emphasizes the universality of the themes he embodies, themes of hubris, corruption, and the tension between individual desire and cosmic order. In examining Melkor's personality complexities, it is evident that Tolkien's portrayal transcends a simple portrayal of good versus evil. Instead, he delves into the nuanced motivations and internal conflicts that shape individuals' choices. Melkor's tragic journey from a promising Ainu to a malevolent force underscores the potential darkness that exists within even the most gifted and promising individuals. As readers navigate Melkor's complexities, they are reminded of the importance of humility, empathy, and the recognition of one's own vulnerabilities to prevent the descent into darkness that he experiences. In the tapestry of Tolkien's intricate world-building, Melkor's character serves as a cautionary tale and a reminder that the complexities of personality, when driven by unchecked desires and distorted motivations, can lead to a tragic unraveling with far-reaching consequences. Through his story, readers are encouraged to explore the intricacies of their own motivations and the potential consequences of their choices, and to contemplate the delicate balance between individuality and the greater harmony of the world around them.